Good morning, everyone. Ethan Stieber here with Stieber Weather Forecasting. We're talking winter weather today and the potential for a winter storm for someone in Illinois as we go throughout the day, Saturday and into the first part of Sunday. So let's dive right in. On your screen right now is the current hazards from the National Weather Service. The kind of purple shaded areas around St. Louis and portions of Marion and Fayette counties, that's a winter weather advisory. The dark blue shading along the I-70 corridor and points north is the winter storm watch that the National Weather Service has decided to keep in place for now. And then we've got a winter storm warning for portions of central and northern Illinois. That's where we think kind of the highest impacts, the most snowfall will fall out of this. Here's another product from the National Weather Service. Just wanted to show you. This is the Winter Storm Severity Index, and it kind of helps visualize the potential impacts from a winter storm in our neck of the woods. Notice everyone along and south of I-70 is in the minor impacts, as it describes down here at the bottom. Few inconveniences for daily life. Use a little bit extra caution while driving. We get some of those moderate impacts as you go north of I-70 and along that I-57 corridor. Expect some disruptions to daily life. Use extra caution while driving. The bigger impacts, though, stay off into northwestern Illinois. And I think that's pretty well on track for what we could see out of this system this weekend. We've got a couple future radars that I'm going to show you to kind of explain the track of this, and then we're going to look at snowfall totals, and we'll get to my forecast after that. So first up on your screen is the Canadian model. This is the medium-range Canadian model. And it'll take you through the day today. Again, I think everything's going to be pretty nice today if you have any shopping to do out and about today. As we go into the overnight hours tonight, we'll stop this at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Some snowfall starts off to our west, and I think we will all start as snow in our region. As we go through the day on Saturday, notice the Canadian keeps in a mainly snow scenario with a little bit further southerly track of the low. That's the track of the low is going to be the real kicker out of this system as we go into the overnight hours Saturday night into this is around midnight now, Saturday night into Sunday. Notice here comes that rain transition that we've been talking about. As the low tracks off to our north and to our east, we switch over to some rain across the area. That's going to cut back on those snow totals a little bit, and really by daybreak on Sunday here 6 a.m. most of that rain and most of that precip in general is out of our hair. Switching over now to one of the high-resolution American models, the 3-kilometer NAM. As we go into the first part of the day on Saturday again, we'll stop this at midnight. There's some snow starting off to our north and to our west. By daybreak on Saturday morning, again here 6 a.m., snow off to our west, stretching back towards St. Louis. And here comes that snow again. Starting out as snow, may transition over to some sort of a mix, though. That's what those purple and red shadings are. The green would be all rain. This is 3 p.m. on Saturday. Let me back this up a little bit. 3 p.m. on Saturday. As we go later on into the evening hours, transitions over to all rain. And notice this track is a little bit further north than the Canadian model. So you see the little bit of inconsistencies with the model data on the track of the low, and again, that's going to be key. This, the 3-kilometer NAM, though, pushes everything out of here by right around midnight Saturday night into the day on Sunday. So there's that. A couple more to show you. This is the high resolution, one of the highest resolution models that we've got in the American suite. It shows pretty much the same picture. We'll fast forward this to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, snowfall off to our west. That will transition throughout the day, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. Here's 3 p.m. Transitions over to a mix. The HRRR kind of pushes the low the furthest north out of these models, and you can see it keeps us in more of a rain to a mix scenario as we go through the afternoon hours on the day Saturday, but pushes everything out of here even earlier, maybe by about 6 p.m. on Saturday instead of closer to midnight. So that's the future radars. Let's talk snowfall. Now, caveat to these snowfall numbers. This is the amount of snow that could fall, not the amount of snow that will land on the ground, and I'll explain why here in a second. This is the Canadian model. Again, it paints anywhere from 5 to 7 inches along the I-70 corridor 3 to 4 along the Route 50 corridor, maybe an inch or two along the I-64 corridor. The 3-kilometer NAM, similar story, a little bit lower totals. No, remember, it had a little bit further north track than the Canadian model. 3 to 4 inches along the I-70 corridor, anywhere from 2 to 4 along the Route 50 corridor, and 1 to 3 along the I-64 corridor. Less amounts as you go closer to the river. Next one up is the HRRR. Notice it had the further north track of any of the systems, or any of the models that we just looked at, and it only paints 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches along the I-70 corridor, inch or two at best along the Route 50 corridor, and next to nothing along the I-64 corridor. So you kind of get the picture. The exact track of the low will determine really how much snow we expect to see falling from the sky on the day on Saturday. Something that'll factor into that, though, this is going to be a really wet snow, and the wet, heavier snows lead to a lot of compaction. So we may see 3 or 4 inches fall on Saturday. Let's say if you're in Effingham, you may see 3 or 4 inches fall out of the sky. But with the compaction and with the melting that will happen, there may only be an inch or two on the ground when it's all said and done. It's going to make it really hard to measure this snowfall. And I mentioned we're going to see some compaction. We'll also see some melting because the ground's not fully frozen yet. The air temperatures are going to be right at freezing, if not just a degree or two above. That's also going to lead to some melting as we go throughout the day on Saturday. And as we warm up, any rain that we get, of course, will cut into those numbers as well. So these next couple graphics kind of help to try to offset that a little bit, and it shows how much snow may actually end up on the ground through the forecast period. This is the 3-kilometer NAM. Again, maybe an inch across the I-70 corridor, stretching down into portions of Clay and Jasper counties, dusting to a half an inch anywhere else. The one of the other Canadian models that we look at, again, maybe an inch along the I-70 corridor, dusting to half an inch along the Route 50 corridor, nothing further to our south. One more for you, the HRRR. Again, this was the furthest northern track of anything, dusting to maybe half an inch along the I-70 corridor, nothing if you're any further south than that. For what it's worth, here's the National Weather Service graphics. Again, because we don't know the exact track of the low, and we don't know when the precip will switch over Saturday afternoon, we've got a pretty big range here in east, central, and southeast Illinois. Notice it gives the Effingham area 2 to 7 inches of snow. The Olney area, half an inch to 4 inches of snow. Again, just remains to be seen exactly the track of the low and when things switch over. That's why their totals look as they do. The next two graphics are the extreme ends of the spectrum. So the low end amount, 90% chance that this falls from the sky on Saturday. Notice it's got an inch pretty well along that I-70 corridor, dusting to a half an inch if you're in portions of Clay, Jasper, Crawford, or Clark counties, nothing further to our south. This would be if the low tracks really far to the north and we see mainly rain or a mix across the area. The high end amount, this is the 1 in 10 chance, this is as the low would track super south, bringing us in a much colder pattern and a lot more snow. Notice it paints 5 to 8 inches across the area. I don't think we're going to see this unless something dramatic changes in the next 24 hours or so. But they put that out there as a range so you can kind of see the entire picture. I did also mention a little bit about some mix or some sleet that may fall. The National Weather Service does pick up on this a little bit, highlighting maybe a little bit of sleet accumulations in portions of Clay, Jasper, and Effingham counties. I don't think it's going to be a big deal out of this, but we'll keep tabs on it, especially if it looks like we're going to go into more of a mix scenario. So we've seen all the different model runs. I've put some time and effort into this. Here's what we're thinking, at least. Here's my thoughts for the first call snowcast. I think along that I-64 corridor, you're going to be lucky if you see hardly any snow out of this. Nothing to maybe a dusting or a trace of snow, especially on the grassy areas through the day, Saturday night. Along the Route 50 corridor, we could see anywhere from nothing to maybe 2 inches of snow. Again, primarily in those grassy areas, it's going to melt on the roads. They've already been out pre-treating roads a little bit, so make sure, just take extra precautions, especially Saturday if you're out and about. Highest totals, I think, in the area will be along that I-70 corridor, where we could see anywhere from 1 inch to 4 inches of snow, again, depending on that track. Biggest uncertainties, and I've been saying this throughout the video, the exact track of the low and the exact temperatures. When those temperatures get warm enough, if we see the warm air move in earlier, we're going to be on the left end of those snowfall totals and may not see much of anything. If we stay colder for longer and the low track's a little bit further to the south, we could see the higher end of those snowfall totals. Again, this is the first call snowcast. We'll refine this data as we go throughout the day today, and probably have a final snowfall forecast as we go into the day tonight. So that's my thoughts right now in terms of what we could see. Again, as we go through the day on Sunday, we may warm up a little bit, so much of this may not even stick around Sunday. But I did hint in my out-the-door forecast this morning that we could see another system move in for the first part of next week. So let's talk about that. As we go past Sunday, we will stay in a kind of a colder pattern as those northwest winds will move in, keeping us in a cool pattern. Monday night into Tuesday, we could see another system work into the area, and this is just one model run, but they've all kind of been showing a similar picture, where we see a low track off to our south, bringing us maybe some snowfall chances Monday night into the first part of Tuesday. A lot of uncertainty still remain in this system as well. This storm is still way out over the Pacific, so we've got a while till we really refine this. I think someone's going to see some snow out of this. Now, whether it's further south in southern Indiana or whether it's up in our neck of the woods still remains to be seen. We'll kind of refine that as we go through this weekend and into the first part of next week. But just know, we may see another little snowstorm work its way through Monday night into Tuesday. Right now, it doesn't look near as organized as the system this weekend, but could be a quick moving system, drop an inch or two out of this as it moves out of the area. So that's Monday night to Tuesday. Again, back to tonight, or not tonight, back to tomorrow rather. There's what I think right now on snowfall totals. We'll see if we need to update this as we go throughout the day. Stay tuned for updates as we go throughout the day in case the National Weather Service does post any more watches or advisories across the area. I'll keep you updated as we go into the evening hours and throughout the duration of the event. Have a great day. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will do my best to answer those as we go for the remainder of the morning and into the afternoon.